A to the K.
To the K.
To the K. Coming up tonight on the Ringside Report. Cesaro quietly exits WWE.
Jeff Hardy says he's going to AEW.
Tony Khan gives an update on when to expect his major announcement. Psst, it's tonight.
Whoa. Brian Cage reportedly staying with AEW.
Vince McMahon set to wrestle at WrestleMania.
Kane, or Glen Jacobs, shares a controversial take on the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
That he does. WWE reportedly have no plans for an Elias TV return.
Ricochet to receive a big push in WWE.
Cain Velasquez charged with attempted murder.
WWE extend A&E partnership and set to produce 130 hours of new content.
Damn, it's a lot of content.
Yeah, that's some content.
Scott Hall has been hospitalised with a broken hip, unfortunately.
Chavo Guerrero surprised as he is removed from the AEW roster.
And Alexa Bliss frustrated with WWE. Anthony, when's all that coming up?
It's all coming up right fucking now.
Yes, it is.
Do you know, if I just dropped the F-bomb, we wouldn't have to be like it. It could be a family-friendly podcast. But
it's just not the same, is it? You could say, like, right fudging now or something, but it's just not the same vibes, you know?
Yeah, it's just not the same. No.
So
no
the
longer
first...
say shit. Damn. Sorry. One of the best things DX ever did, that.
It was, definitely.
Anyway, you were going to say some news.
I was going to say some news. So we're going to talk about Cesaro.
We don't talk about Cesaro?
No. Unfortunately, he has quietly exited WWE after his contract has expired. So this came from PW Insider. He was originally scheduled to be at Friday's SmackDown. That's just gone. But obviously he didn't show up because he's no longer with the company. So it was reported that it wasn't his decision necessarily to kind of go, I don't want to re-sign here. But they just couldn't reach an agreement in terms of contract negotiations. So I believe the new deal that was offered to him, he just didn't feel fairly kind of reflected, what he thought he was worth, especially in light of other people who'd recently re-signed, the likes of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and people like that. So Cesaro decided not to renew, and he's now technically a free agent then, I guess. I'm guessing he hasn't got to do 90 days or nothing like that because it's not a release, it's just a contract expiry.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so really he could rock up whenever, wherever, as Shakira would say.
Maybe at Revolution. What?
Well,
Maybe.
Here's the thing. No, I don't know how you feel about this, but I wouldn't like to see him in AEW.
Come on! Why?
No, because this guy's talented as fuck, right? And this is not a slight to AEW, but AEW at the minute, I think he'd just get lost in the roster.
I mean, he would, but where's he going to go that we're going to see him? And I know that...
Where would he get? Impact? Let's send him to Impact.
But the thing is...
TV time.
We know how hard it is to fit Impact in as it is to our schedule. Like,
Can't be selfish, Carl. We have to let him fly.
No, I will be selfish. I'm already missing out on Mickey James and The Inspiration and people like that over on Impact who I genuinely think are fantastic. And just because there's a lack of time to watch it as religiously as we want to. So, I don't think he would be lost in the shuffle. He's not going to... if he goes to Impact, would he be a world champion? Probably. If he goes to AEW, would he? Maybe. Not anytime soon, I wouldn't think. But at the end of the day, people who kind of talk about AEW and the bloated roster and things like that, some of these deals are expiring and are coming up. And no offense to the likes of, Marco Stunt and Peter Avalon or whatever, but when you're replacing guys like that with guys like Buddy Matthews and potentially Cesaro, yeah, it's a no-brainer. So, yeah, I'd love to see him rock up in AEW. I think there's loads of cool shit he can get involved in there. But, wherever he goes, whatever he does, ultimately, as long as he's happy. I believe Drew McIntyre said as well on a interview that he did that he's recently just become a dad as well, which nobody knew about. So maybe he's just going to take a bit of time with his kid as well. And
I'm hoping Cesaro knew about that. Like, if Drew had to break it to him, that's worrying, isn't
it? It's yours. But no,
why has
I
he got a
kid.
little sword? No.
Hilarious. So Cesaro gone from WWE. Quite shocking.
Indeed.
But yeah, let's see. He might just end up re-signing. Maybe they'll offer him something else.
I'm apprehensive about him going to AEW, but the Carl wants what it wants.
It does, and the Carl usually gets what it gets, which isn't always what he wants, but he gets what he gets. You know.
He wants what he gets.
Yeah.
He doesn't want what he doesn't get. I don't
know.
Anyway, next one, Carl. So, Jeff Hardy. Everyone's been wondering, where's Jeff going ever since he jumped over the barrier from WWE and was never seen again.
That's literally what people said.
Turns out, he took the long road to AEW.
So you're walking for days now.
We're trying to find them. They keep moving. He keeps moving. It's ridiculous. No, but obviously, joking aside, a lot of people have speculated this. Matt is already in AEW. A lot of people have been waiting for Jeff to rock up in AEW, and we have not seen that yet. No, but Jeff, I want to say a couple of weeks back now, he did confirm that the Hardy Boys themselves will be having a reunion, and I think he mentioned a date at an event for Big Time Wrestling. So not AEW, but the Hardy Boys are back together. That's a good sign. So again, people heavily speculating, oh, he's going to AEW. It's got to happen, surely. Well, in a conversation with Jared Myers, who I'm an old guy, so I have no idea who that is, but a popular person, he has actually revealed now that he is going to AEW. So he's been quoted as, and you can see this on various Twitters, social medias and the like, but he's been, in this conversation, he's said, I'm going to AEW. I'm so excited. Until this morning, I didn't really know. I'm so nervous and excited. So it seems he has sort of confirmed he is going, but what we don't know is when exactly.
Ooh.
So I believe the Hardy Boys are reuniting on the 12th of March outside of AEW. So my speculative mind, I don't know. My speculation would be somewhere around that time, Carl. I don't know how you feel about it. So we know he's definitely going there, but when? When, Carl?
Reunited and it feels so
also,
good.
What does going to AEW truly mean? Because this doesn't necessarily mean Jeff is all elite. Because people have been to AEW before now. Other Jeffs have been to AEW before now and haven't been all elite.
This is true. This is true.
Like, is he signing with them or is he appearing at? That's another question I have too.
I reckon they'll sign him. I think it'll be a massive coup for them. WWE kind of realised, okay, we made a big mistake here. Come and be in the Hall of Fame and we'll get you back. And he's like, nah. I think he is one talent that they didn't want AEW to pick up. So, sucks for them. Unfortunately for Jeff, though. Well, he is. He's a bit of an enigma like that. But unfortunately,
in his pocket, bro.
Unfortunately for Jeff, he has joined Cody in the terrible neck tattoo brigade. So unfortunately,
Cody,
we'll have to see that. We'll have to see that debut with him. But I think it's great news. By all accounts, he didn't do anything that warranted his release from WWE. Obviously, he just walked out the match.
Like, he was like offended that like they want him to do rehab, and some people are like, just do the rehab. And it's like, yeah, but he hadn't had the results back.
Exactly.
This was the problem. They asked him to do a drug test, so he did. Never got the results back. I'm like, well, go rehab anyway. It's like, all right.
Yeah,
geez.
I think unfortunately for him in WWE, he's always going to be guilty until proven innocent.
Plus, it's always going to be a storyline.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I had substance problems. You may have heard, like, yeah, every other week. Week.
Now do me a favour and just lie down while I pour this bottle of whiskey over your face. Hopefully, none of it splashes in your mouth.
We call that a Wednesday.
So yeah, I think it's good. I think I've really not enjoyed the latest incarnation of Matt Hardy as part of this AHFO stuff. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, hopefully Jeff turns up and fucking breaks him.
Yeah, break him the fuck up. I'd love to see that come back in front of crowds and stuff as well. But we'll see what they do. They might just go old school Hardys. Either way, it's going to be significantly better than what he's doing. So yeah, great news. They actually, before we move on to the next one, they actually recorded a video, the pair of them, where Jeff basically told a certain fan to go and fuck himself because he basically, I'm not sure whether this is the same guy you referenced in the news article, whether it's someone else, but essentially he told someone, like a fan had like a meet and greet or something, oh yeah, I'm going to be in AEW, and then that's where it all kind of basically escalated from. And obviously Matt Hardy was like fuming, saying, he's told you this in private, thing, and you've gone and told everyone. So Jeff is just like, yeah, fuck you. So
that's Jeff.
I love it. So the next one to talk about, sticking with AEW, Tony Khan has another major announcement. Another one, just another one. And he was on Busted Open Radio this past Friday, basically saying he's been working on something pretty big, as we know, calling it massive. But basically, he said, I don't exactly know when we're going to be able to tell the fans, but I know it's coming very soon. But in an update, Anthony, he has announced he's going to be revealing the big news tonight during Dynamite. He said, I'm going to tell everyone right now, you don't want to miss Wednesday Dynamite next week. I've been talking a lot about this big announcement in the world of pro wrestling. Not only is there going to be a lot of great wrestling on the show, the Casino Tag Battle Royal, 15 teams entering the ring. I'm going to add a lot more to the card, but I'm going to promise you guys right now I have a huge announcement coming. Nobody knows what it is. It's going to be something very important in the wrestling business. It's not one particular piece of talent. It's something very special, and I'm excited about it. I believe it's something we'll be in a position to announce on Wednesday, and I'm pretty excited about that. So, what do we think it is? And let's speculate now and see how wrong we are tomorrow, because I believe it could be something to do with a kind of streaming service or something like that. I think it's been talked about for a while. The whole reason why they did episodes of Dark and then Dark Elevation on YouTube, etc., is to get more eyeballs on the product, sure, but also to have this back catalogue of matches that people can go back and watch whenever they want. So why stick it on YouTube for free when you can put it in a streaming service and make someone pay for it? So I think they're going to go down some kind of route. It's been rumoured in the past something to do with HBO. So maybe they're going to do something like that.
HBO.
Him
Which
saying
might be handy for us, because if they go to HBO, we may get it on Now TV.
Oh, I don't have Now TV. I don't want to have another thing. Why can't we get it on either Disney Plus or Netflix or Prime?
Because they don't like us.
Well, that's not fair.
But I'm sure you could find Now TV on one of those many legitimate platforms.
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, Carl, I feel like I've been burnt by Tony before. So I reckon it's going to be something that's like, it is a big enough deal that it's worth announcing, but he's overhyped it to fuck. So I feel like it'd be something simple, like we're getting an extra half an hour or an hour of Rampage, and we're like, yeah. But really, that was kind of limp.
The thing,
the way he hyped it,
The line that sticks out to me is it's going to be something very important in the wrestling business. It's not one particular piece of talent. It's something very special, and I'm excited about it. It could be something to do with the Owen. Like, where's the Owen Cup going and stuff like that? Like, when he said it's going to be really important in the wrestling business, like that makes me think it's obviously a wider reach, and maybe they bought Ring of Honor.
Ooh, that would be a big announcement. What would they do with Ring of Honor though? As a name brand, because AEW is a bigger name brand, so you wouldn't really use the Ring of Honor name. NXT.
Maybe.
Ring of Honor becomes their developmental brand, yeah. I like it.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I don't know. Like, it's hard to speculate because like Tony's like all over the place. Like he says all these things, and he'd be like, "I bought a new car." It's like, what? Why is that relevant? Why? How has that changed wrestling?
Yeah, I think it's one of them. Like, I think you're right. He does have a tendency of potentially overhyping and under-delivering for a lot of fans. But also the frequency of his major announcements has become a bit of a meme in itself. So I really hope he gets this one right. But the fact he's hyped it up so much, calling it monumental, what's it, major announcement, monumental this and groundbreaking that or whatever, massive, big deal.
His announcement's going to be that AEW's Heels is going to become a reality show that will rival Total Divas.
Maybe. It's going to be great for the wrestling business. But no, I think it's mad that he's managed to keep his card so close to his chest. Even the likes of Fightful and people like that who are supposedly very well connected don't seem to have any kind of, update at this point in time in terms of what it could be. Literally,
I'll throw you the wildy out, right?
Well,
it's probably not true, but I'm going to do it anyway. He's going to announce a partnership with a rival wrestling promotion, right? That just happens to be a wrestling promotion that Cody has started this week because they couldn't agree on a way forward. So Cody's going to do his thing, but they are going to continue to work together.
Okay, interesting. Maybe
Not true, but whatever.
Maybe he's secretly behind Control Your Narrative after all.
He went and controlled that narrative by buying it off them.
He did. But no,
maybe
who
Cody's
the hell knows?
bought Ring of Honor, right? And they're going to work together to make both shows work. You know.
I mean, they could proper go. Maybe he's bought NXT. The name on the contract does say Khan, but it's not Nick Khan. It's Tony Khan. What?
Oh, shit.
Nah, who knows? But the fact he's saying it's going to be kind of a massive thing for the pro wrestling business makes me think.
It still worries me. It's like, it's going to be, well, you all know my good friend, Billy Corgan. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's cool and all, but.
Yeah. It's been a big swerve this whole time. He brings out Bischoff and Vince Russo. No!
They keep offering to help, so I said yes! Like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Shows there, like, we're going to put some things on a poll! Like, oh, no.
Oh, God. Yeah, who knows?
And running around, like, have we tried hot lesbian action? Have we tried that yet?
I think it'd take about 3 minutes. No, Eric. Yeah, I think they didn't have the best number a couple of weeks ago, did they? And I think when that tends to happen, Tony tends to come out and go, "Oh, I've actually got a big announcement you don't want to miss next week." So, is it just a way of getting more eyeballs on the weekly television show, or is this one different? I
think there's an element of it. Even if it's going to end up being a really good announcement, I think he has done it to pump numbers, because at the end of the day, it is a numbers game, isn't it? So he's going to try and do things to increase the numbers. The same way WWE go, Logan Paul's standing up this week. You know, it's the same thing. So it's not like necessarily a bad thing that he's doing it to increase the numbers. I just, like you say, it just can't be a bit of a damp squib, really, can it?
No, exactly.
People are just going to stop trusting his announcements.
We'll know more tomorrow. So if we're right, then we'll update it and make out like we knew all along on our.
That's right. It's going to be seamless. You're not even going to know. It's going to be like we were saying it right now. I can't believe Whoops. I can't believe Tony did this. And we'll just edit in later, yeah.
Just put your hand over your mouth and be.
Wow, can you believe Tony Khan's big announcement was. Come on,
wow.
Is that right?
Wow, yeah, that's fine.
Shocked?
So yeah, we'll find out. What's the next one? What else you got for me, Ant?
Well, Carl, this is one you might find surprising because we have been talking about people signing to AEW. We've been talking about a potentially bloated roster, Carl. So one that may surprise you, and it seems to surprise a lot of people, is it seems that Brian Cage is not going anywhere. Now, this hasn't been confirmed by AEW, I'll stress that. So this has come, and this may seem like a bit of a reach, right? So bear with me. So Frightful Select have reported that word's going around the locker room that Brian Cage has told his friends. So it's a bit of a stretch, albeit. But basically that they have picked up his option. So he's, I believe it's going to be another year with AEW, which is surprising, mostly not because Brian Cage is an absolutely talented fucking guy. It's the fact that he hasn't really been on AEW's programming for some time. In actual fact, I think the street fight for the FCW Championship was the last time he was truly on AEW, which would have been back October time. And he has been doing a lot of indie dates, so I think a lot of people just believed the contract was going to expire, and it was going to be that sort of part, and he's going to carry on doing his own thing, and that was that. And it wouldn't be the first time Tony Khan has let a contract expire and cracked on. But no, it seems that there are still some plans for Cage, which is great, and we are going to have him around for a bit longer. Again, AEW haven't confirmed the contract extension, but this seems to be what Brian Cage is telling people by all accounts.
Yeah, I saw something like, didn't he tweet something out afterwards or something, which didn't necessarily confirm the story? It was kind of like, oh, interesting how more than me or something like that. He said something like that. I can't remember what it
Yeah,
was.
but again, it's all speculative, so it could be like he's had a blabbermouth friend, and he's gone, look, don't tell anyone, but this is the case, and now he's having to like try and fix it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's a fascinating one because his wife came out didn't like not too long ago, basically just saying she did, yeah, saying that he should be used better and things like that. So clearly, it seemed like there was sour grapes between.
She knows
obviously
about using him, doesn't she?
Well, I bet she does.
I don't know anything about their relationship. I'm sorry.
So yeah, who knows? But you would think if they've renewed him that we're going to see him crop up again soon. So all remains to be seen on that one. So the next one, speaking of people who might crop up soon, in a wrestling ring, is a name that I didn't expect anytime soon. Was Vince McMahon himself, Anthony. So weirdly enough, Pat McAfee has recently had Brock Lesnar on his show, and he's announced that Vince McMahon is going to be on his show this Thursday, so tomorrow. But somebody who the source escapes me because I can't see it here, Post Wrestling it is, basically has reported that a source close to the situation was asked whether or not this might lead somewhere and potentially lead to a McMahon versus Pat McAfee match at WrestleMania, to which the source responded, most likely. Now, Vince is 76 years old. He has not wrestled since 2010 against Bret Hart, WrestleMania 26. So this is a very long absence outside the ring. But yeah, something I didn't have on my bingo card for 2022, Anthony. Vince McMahon in the wrestling match.
I want to know. Right, there's a lot of shit been going on the last few years. We've had plagues. We've got like potentially World War III around the corner. Like, what is going on with this world at the minute, right? When, Vince McMahon is more likely to enter the ring again than Triple H, according to the news.
Well, yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
It is mad. And
don't get me wrong, it's not even close to some of the weird shit we've been getting in the world. But when you're in the world of wrestling, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, he's 76 for God's sake, so it can't be a proper full-on match, surely. But I know a couple of years ago, there was backstage... When was it when Gronk hosted WrestleMania? But basically, there was some footage, wasn't there, of him... Basically, Gronk was scared to jump off something for one of the scenes, so Vince was like, yeah, I'll do it. So, he's a mad bastard. He's open to doing stuff like this. But he's obviously in impeccable shape.
Feel like a coward. Love it.
Well, exactly. But yeah, I would be completely shocked if he's in a match... against Pat McAfee at WrestleMania, but by all accounts, that's what a lot of the speculation's leading towards. So,
I mean, I'm going to throw it out there, Carl. This is what they're going to do. Right, so I'll put it out there now and act like I fucking know the business like back of my hand, and I'm so right, and you fucking marks, right? So I'm going to be about it. But obviously, Carl, right? Vince is going to talk a big game. He's going to get into a feud with Pat. He's going to get a match booked, and it's going to be Austin Theory who takes him out for him.
Yes.
This is what's going to happen. Vince isn't going to wrestle. He's just going to head to the ring with his black t-shirt on and his do-rag and his gloves like he did back in the day. People are going to think he's going to have a match, and he's not. It's going to be Austin saving the day for him.
Yeah. Well, we did know that
Austin...
We did hear that Austin was going to be at WrestleMania. So,
WrestleMania contract said Austin.
No, I think... yeah, I was going to kind of suggest that might be where it was headed. It seems the most logical thing.
No. You can't backpedal now, Carl. I suggested it.
No, just because you said it first. No, it seems like, obviously, we've had this thing with Theory going for weeks and weeks and weeks, and he keeps going on about making, this big moment or whatever, doesn't he? So, as it stands, Austin Theory doesn't have anything booked for Mania, so... It would seem like there's going to be some involvement in some way, shape, or form in this. But something like that, as you kind of said there. Huh?
In theory.
In theory, yes. So yeah, imagine it though. Imagine if Vince McMahon does get in the ring, the mad bastard. But yeah, even if he does, I think...
And last time I saw this guy get in the ring, he tore both of his quads. I want to say quads.
He was his quads, yeah. So yeah, all remains to be seen. WrestleMania is shaping up to be... bevy of rematches and old men. What more can you want? So,
you want to watch old men struggle? Tune in to WrestleMania.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I believe you got the next one on another controversial take.
I don't know there's a lot we can offer to this one, Carl. People love the absolute gold we offer opinion wise when it comes to the news. I know they do, but this is largely political. This one, and some people have debated whether Kane is being a knob or not, right? But Kane, or Glen Jacobs, as he's now known, mayor of Knox County, as some people know him, has put out a tweet quite recently in regards to what's going on, obviously, at the minute with Russia and Ukraine and the like. And the tweet goes as such, Carl. He says, if you on the left... if you... I fucked this up. Do you know what? No, I haven't fucked this up. I want to put this out there. Glenn fucked this up, right? So, he put, if you on the left and are shocked by Putin's aggression, wake up, sunshine. He wrote, historically, in the real world, might makes right. Weakness, which is really what the left is all about, is not a virtue. It is a fatal character flaw. And no, the US should still not get involved. So people have took this, they've ran with this and said, so what he's saying is, Putin is, the right, if you will, and that makes might. No, might makes right. Anyway, and he's saying that the lefts are soft. So it's like, you're supporting Putin? And it's basically a lot of debate of like, he didn't say he supported Putin. He just said that's how Putin thinks. And it's like, I'm not getting into the whole left versus right thing. I mean, the American politics are vastly different from ours. So I wouldn't, I don't live there, and it wouldn't be right to sort of pick a side, Carl, left or right. I don't know what way you lean, but obviously American politics, not a can of worms I'm opening. But he stirred up a bit of controversy for himself here with this one. A lot of people are saying, like, it's given the current climate, given what's going on, it's really kind of, even if he wasn't going for like support of, which I don't think he was, to be fair, it's kind of tone deaf to put a comment or a tweet out there like that, which I would argue is probably right, in all fairness. He also added as well that I highly doubt Putin cares a whit, about toxic masculinity, the cancel culture, or any of the other things that the radical left stands for. So most of his tweets is just about, I hate the left and I am right. But, using the current conflict with Russia and Ukraine as a mechanism to moan about American politics is not the best thing to do. How do you feel about this, Carl? What do you reckon? Do you think Glenn's gone a bit too far with this?
I miss the time when Kane couldn't talk. That was good time.
Let's face it though. If he'd have said this with that little voice box thing like back in the day, it might have had more impact.
Yeah.
Do you know what the funny thing is, Carl? This isn't even the craziest Kane story we've got this week.
This is fucking true, actually. But yeah, I've got really not a lot to say about it. To be honest, it's
hard to, because it's largely political. It's hard to have anything to say about it. It's just like, what are you doing, Glenn?
Yeah. So,
some sort of politician or like some sort of mayor or someone in that sort of world who should stay off social media. Would you believe, Carl? Would you believe?
Yes. Yes, I would. So let's move swiftly on, shall we? So,
Sure.
I've got a picture of Ricochet on my screen, which is interesting because I'm planning to talk about Elias. So you can talk about Ricochet.
So apparently, Carl, and I'm open, because you've jumped the gun. So now I'm like, what's the word? Scrambling to know what I'm talking about. Here, man. Now, basically, there's some speculation, Carl, that WWE have some interest in Ricochet as a top babyface superstar on the SmackDown brand. So we have, I don't know, the potential in this. Like, we've seen him sort of confront Sami Zayn over the Intercontinental title, which Sami's now got. So, you can kind of get some suggestion, okay, he's getting a little bit of a push, a little bit of thing going on here. But, I mean, what do you think about this, like, this speculation?
So, I mean, I saw something before saying that Ricochet is viewed as the second top babyface on SmackDown.
Yeah,
Are
I mean,
you
I've got
shitting
that.
me?
This is I've got that as a little side note. This is something according to PW Insider. This one, he's the second singles babyface superstar for SmackDown behind Drew McIntyre, which is really disappointing for SmackDown, right? In all honesty, but what do you think about this suggestion that he's going to be pushed as a top babyface superstar? Because like the last time we saw him in any sort of limelight, he was getting thrown around like a rag doll by Brock. Really,
Yeah.
let's ignore the some months he spent fighting with a faction that nobody fucking liked, right?
Yeah.
Not naming any names there, T-Bar. Um,
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
talent-wise, he absolutely has the talent to be, viewed in that light. It just, unfortunately, he can't, he can't cut a promo. He can't talk. So unless he can do something there, which is gonna, you know, endear him to the fans from a personable level, I think he's always going to struggle to break out of that kind of into the next echelon of kind of how he's viewed. Unfortunately, he
what I
could
find
be.
interesting isn't Big E on the SmackDown brand?
I don't even know anymore. I think he's technically on Raw.
Is he? Because last I saw him, he was tag teaming with Kofi on
Oh yeah.
SmackDown. It was
Oh
really
yeah.
hard to keep
Oh
track.
no.
It's
He's
similar to
always
Finn
on
Balor.
SmackDown.
I thought Finn Balor was a SmackDown guy.
Yeah.
I don't know when he went to Raw. Like he
But I
clearly
mean,
did go to Raw given recent events, but when
the
did
thing
that
is,
happen?
I'm trying to think about baby faces on SmackDown. Well, firstly, Brock. Surely he's got to be. So Brock isn't the number one or two
He's
baby
not.
face.
No, Drew's
So
number one and Ricochet's
okay.
number two.
So that straight away makes you think, right? Okay, then. But
Have they twisted the
after that,
narrative now that Brock is a Raw guy now?
of course, maybe. But yeah, to be fair, there really isn't that many baby faces on that show at all, which
What
is
about
bizarre.
Happy Corbin? What about Happy Corbin?
But he's so
Happy
happy. He
Corbin
must
can't
be.
be a heel.
Yeah.
Like it's worrying how few superstars I can even think of.
I know. I'm thinking the same. It's so sparse, isn't it?
Like, my head went to Cesaro for a second. I'm like, well, clearly he's not on SmackDown anymore.
No.
Like,
Sami Zayn's a bad guy. Shinsuke? Really? He's not.
Is it? I mean, apparently, I don't know. Like, there's another little note here. I don't know if this come from PW Insider as well, but he's considered number 2 superstar. But apparently, names like Big E, Kofi, and Shinsuke are listed as tag team competitors.
All right, so he's the number 2 singles.
Yeah,
right.
So Shinsuke isn't making the list because he's in a tag team with Rick Boogs, apparently.
All right,
Even though he's just held the IC title and has done more as a singles competitor with like Boogs just as his cheerleader or whatever. So even stuff like that, it's like it's a bit of a reach to get him to number 2 because you have to discount some people for various reasons, But I'm actually, all this is done for me, and I feel sorry to say this because Ricochet is definitely a talented guy. I'm not having a pop, but it just seems like he's got to that position
because there's no other fucker there.
Imagine being in a race and it's like you won because everyone else is just not racing now, so you won. It's like,
yeah,
is that really a victory? Like, he's in the number 2 spot just because we've no one left.
Well, exactly.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize how sparse the SmackDown roster was.
It's like, where are all the people? Where they all go?
Not good. Not good at all.
Crazy,
yeah,
man.
Weird.
So yeah, it just seems more about the lack of star power as to why Ricochet's in that position. Which, if I don't want to say it like that, but the more I'm looking at it, and the more you look at the way they've listed things, it's like, oh, is he no? Is he getting a push, or is he just like one of the few people there?
Strange. So the next one that I should have spoke about just then, but
let's jump back.
We'll go back. I want to talk to you about Elias. We're talking about the lack of superstars on SmackDown, for example, who could be baby faces.
Could be like a number 1 baby face.
Well, I'm a huge fan of Elias, right? And obviously back last year, it's God knows when, he did that whole thing where basically he burnt his gimmick literally, and was set to kind of put away the Drifter character and come back as something brand new. Now the rumors at the time, which have kind of been confirmed a little bit, I think, based off the new WWE 2K22 game, was that he was set to come back as in trunks, like orange coloured trunks and stuff like that.
It fucked up the 2K22 game is what's unveiled what his gimmick
would have been. I know. But basically, like, he was meant to come back, and Vince said he looks too much like Macho Man, and so that wasn't allowed. But then they since haven't done anything with him at all. So Ringside News basically exclusively reported in December that he was spotted backstage with a clean shave and shorter hair, which I don't think that's ever been confirmed, actually, Ringside News. But they also asked around in terms of where his current whereabouts are. They were told that he is in creative purgatory right now. A tenured member of the creative team told them, "I don't remember the last time his name came up. It's been so long." That being said, they aren't even batting around ideas about him at this point. Like, how can you literally just have someone under contract and just not do anything with them? It is baffling.
Honestly, when you only have to write for, like, what, 5 people, it must be the easiest fucking job in the world right now, working for WWE's creative team.
I legit.
You have to give zero fucks about anyone who's, like, mid-card or lower.
No, I don't get it. And, like, literally, like, just put him on SmackDown.
We clearly need it.
Exactly. Even have him back as the Drifter guy. I didn't have a single problem with his gimmick, so yeah, I don't.
I would like to have seen him wrestle more with that gimmick.
Well, exactly. But anyway, so yeah, poor Elias. Now the next one is mine as well, because I messed up the order. So this is such a bizarre one. So
difficult topic.
It is, and I think some more news came out about this, which may explain his motives.
Yes.
But, so, essentially, former UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez, who has also made appearances with WWE as well, is actually currently in jail. He was arrested and charged with attempted murder in San Jose, California, and the police kind of pulled him over after he was driving in a car and fired 3 or more shots at like another car and people in there, basically. But basically, TMZ reported that he was basically booked on an attempted murder charge, and basically that at the time the motive and circumstances were unclear. But I saw something that came out today that basically alluded to the fact that something with one of his kids in like their daycare or something, potentially one of the people that was shot at as being linked with some potential abuse of one of his kids, in which case it seems like he's completely blown his lid and basically just tried to kill them off the back of that, really. So, I mean,
I saw a similar thing on socials about like the motive behind it, and it's funny because this is a slight digression, but I'll mention it anyway because it, like, I don't want to say amused me, but it was an interesting like tangent that the comment section seemed to go on, because there was the gun supporters, and by the way, I'm on neither side of the fence. We live in the UK, we don't really do the whole gun thing, but there's like all these people like, see, this is the way we have guns, when they sort of read out the motivation, and then sort of the people in the comments to sort of argue in the position, going, you have guns so you can miss the guy and hit his father, because apparently he didn't actually hit the guy he intended to hit. And a lot of people go, well, why did he's a terrifying dude and a UFC fighter, why didn't he just like lay hands on him and stuff like that? And it become heavily debated of like, how do you get revenge on this guy, which is just a mad tangent to go on, like, when given the circumstances, I don't think he's acted in anything other than emotion by the sounds of it,
No, definitely. I said to you, I was so shocked by this because I used to watch UFC Embedded on YouTube, where you get to see them obviously training leading up to the fight and stuff like that, and you always what?
Lift them weights.
As in, like, grappling and stuff as well, rolling around. Okay, that doesn't make it sound any better. But no, he always kind of came across as a really nice dude. So I was really shocked by it. But when you find out potentially the motivation behind things, you can kind of starts to make a bit more sense, I think. But just what a situation. Obviously, nothing. I think at this stage it's still somewhat speculation. I don't think there's been any official report on everything going on, other than the fact he is obviously under arrest still. And
that's the thing. I think that's the bit we can sort of confirm is he's officially been charged with first degree attempted murder. charged obviously doesn't mean convicted, and like you say, the motive we are that is sort of rumored at this point. But crazy to say the least.
Indeed. Madam.
Indeed. So, segueing as best we can, Carl, and assuming you've got the images in the right order. That's right. It's salt. The next one is about the A&E network, Carl. So, by all accounts, WWE and AEW are producing 130 hours of new programming, Carl. Now, this is exciting stuff if you're a fan of the content they've been putting out so far. So we have confirmed that we have more wrestling-themed episodes of Biography, if you're a fan of those. They are producing another season of WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, which has been massively popular, especially episodes like The Undertaker one and so on like that. And we are getting a new original series called WWE Rivals, which we've not got a great deal of information on, but that's also been greenlit by A&E Network. So those are some of the stuff that's been confirmed for this 130 hours worth of content. But my God, like I don't know whether you've watched any of these, Carl, or whether you're a big fan, but like that Most Wanted Treasures is a fascinating one. And A&E seem to be doing a great job with WWE content, I suppose. So I think this is absolutely fantastic thing.
I agree.
Bread and butter seems to be coming outside of the actual wrestling world now, and it seems to be about like look at the network. It did well out of like Austin's stuff, talking about wrestling back in the day and like icons and various bits like that. And it's like we're getting like content that's not. It's obviously based in the wrestling world, but it's not actually the wrestling shows anymore.
They're very much an entertainment company now, aren't they?
They could totally abandon SmackDown and Raw at this point if they wanted to, and would still make money out of that content because they've been going for 30 odd years and people want to know.
Yeah, they're a massive, they're a massive brand, aren't they? They've got so many different vehicles and stuff. They've got movie studios and everything, so there's loads going for them. I think I am a fan of the A&E docs. I think there's a couple of them that I really enjoyed. It's a hard one because they touched similar topics at times with Dark Side of the Ring, and there were two very different stances on things. So I think the A&E docs are very much kind of what WWE want you to see.
So
kind of thing.
It's not going to be anything controversial towards WWE.
Yeah, so obviously less controversial, but still very, very enjoyable. And I think some of the episodes of the Treasures stuff, have been really interesting. I think maybe a little bit silly at times in terms of where they're going on a hunt for these things themselves. Like, it's nice to know the stories and that, but maybe they could refine the show a little bit. But yeah, I've obviously we got to hear a little bit about some of Undertaker's stuff, and a call back to one of our earlier guests of Stanley Sherman, who made a mask for the Undertaker and stuff like that. So it's been a good watch, definitely. So, and it's always a good thing to get even more segments and products and shows out for other channels that aren't on your own network as well. So it's definitely growing the audience and giving the general public stuff to watch even if they don't subscribe. So, good news all round, I would say there.
Indeed.
So a bit of a sad one, but just a bit of a short update is Scott Hall is currently hospitalised at the moment with a broken hip. So Jerry Jarrett, obviously Jeff Jarrett's dad, basically was on I think he was on like a Facebook Live or some kind of thing with PW Insider. Basically, he was quoted as saying, "Just got off the phone with Scott. He fell and broke his hip, and he's currently in the hospital. Prayers are going to help him recover." So yeah, I think he was scheduled for a couple of different conventions coming up. Obviously WrestleCon as well in Dallas as well. So yeah, I think hopefully he's still able to attend whatever he can, and the injury doesn't set him back too much. But
Indeed.
Get better soon.
Speedy recovery, yeah. So next one, Carl, and sadly, this isn't the first time that Chavo has tweeted something and then had to delete it. But Chavo Guerrero is in response to a tweet that was put out by AEW Metrics. Now, AEW Metrics reported that Chavo Guerrero Jr. is no longer listed on AEW's official roster page. And Chavo, in his infinite wisdom, not having a pop at you, Chavo, but it's not the first time you said stuff before, thinking about it. He's put, that's news to me. I guess I have Tony Khan telling me to go film Young Rock Season 2, and my job will be waiting for me when I'm done. Didn't mean much. Now, he did subsequently delete that tweet and put a different tweet in response saying, news to me, with the shrugging emoji. So maybe thought better of, tagging Tony Khan and having a pop when, I'm guessing he didn't have a conversation with the man before he did that. So, couple of things there, Carl, and this isn't entirely on Chavo. Shitty thing for AEW to do, if that is in fact the case, he's not part of the roster anymore. And a shitty way to respond, like airing your business in public. If that's happened and it's not a mistake, then ring the man up, have an argument with him or whatever. But that could have been a simple error, and I don't know. This is all speculation. That could have been a simple error, and Guerrero's done that publicly, and it's like, just fucking speak to him. Jesus Christ. So I don't know what you make of this one, Carl. We know we know Chavo. I'm trying to remember what the last one was, but he said stuff in the past that was somewhat insensitive.
He said something about Seth Rollins, didn't he?
He did. I'm trying to remember what it was. That was it. Sorry, yeah, thank you. When the fan attacked Seth Rollins, he was saying about people being tougher back in the day, and ended up apologising for that as well. I think sometimes he'll tweet and it'll end up being a lot more controversial than he expects it to be. But nevertheless, he has thought better of it and adjusted this tweet. But no, we're there. All those marks are there, waiting, watching for things like this. So it's been reported and it's getting reported everywhere. Anyway, so I don't know what you make of it, Carl. But what do you think he has actually been removed, as it were, or do you think it's just a case of, well, no one's seen you in ages. You're still in Australia, we think. Don't know anymore. But the Young Rock, I don't even know if it was longer than he planned on it being, because it certainly seemed like he thought he was going to be back a bit sooner than he was. So
definitely.
Maybe the roster thing was just so that they'll readjust when he comes back or whichever. I don't know. Well, what do you reckon? Do you reckon they boosted him?
I don't know. I think if they have, then I agree. It's a bit of a shitty way for him to find out on that. You think whether or not he was under a contract or not, I guess is the main thing. Maybe they just brought him in for a couple of dates and were like, oh, when you get back, we'll we'll reach out and bring you back in again, kind of thing. Go and do what you need to do. If he wasn't under contract, then I suppose they don't really need to kind of do anything because he's not under a contract. But
it makes you wonder though, because if he wasn't under contract or isn't under contract, should he even be on the roster page anyway? They've had plenty of people who aren't or
good point. I guess let's see what happens. Let's see whether he says anything else or any more news comes to light. But if they have just binned him off via a roster update on the website, not the best. But I agree as well. If something like that is brought to his attention, just give Tony Khan a ring or a message, and just be like, "Hello, am I still working with you?" Or
unless he tried that and Tony just sort of read it and then didn't respond,
left him on red.
Some sort of thing like that, which would be frustrating. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be actually. It would. So moving swiftly on to the final news for this week. So Alexa Bliss. As we know, she made a long-awaited return at Elimination Chamber, and apparently the reason that she missed so much time, which was news to me, was that she was out with getting sinus surgery, which I didn't really know about. But she came back at the Chamber, and unfortunately didn't win that match. But then we haven't again seen her since. Now, Raw on Monday took place in her hometown of Columbus, Ohio, so a lot of fans obviously very excited, thinking that she was going to show up and be in attendance as the hometown girl. However, she was not booked on the show at all. Now, she basically tweeted back at a lot of fans who were kind of tagging her, saying, I can't wait to see you, or where were you, stuff like that, why weren't you there? And she basically replied with, I don't know, shrugging emoji. So doesn't indicate that she was best pleased by not being on the show. So basically a couple of other tweets off the back of that. So There was a fan that was there, again, as I was saying before, like saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see you" and stuff. She basically tweeted back at them saying, "Oh, I hope you have a great time at Raw," but didn't necessarily say that I'm not going to be there or give any reasons why. But yeah, bit of a strange one. Obviously, she's just recently had her bachelorette party the weekend just gone, so possibly that, you know, she was just simply given the night off or something like that. You know, it might not be that they decided not to use her or something, but
same time though, you say
why?
hometown, like you wouldn't expect that, would you?
No, and I
You
suppose
wouldn't expect her to want the night off, but
exactly, and I suppose with her tweeting things like "yeah, I don't know" and stuff like that, makes you think that she probably did want to be on the show. So it wouldn't surprise me if this is a typical, you know, creative limbo. Effectively, they've had to do this gimmick change. You know, she's gone away. They've brought her back with a load of vignettes. And it's, you know, would they ever do vignettes that don't lead anywhere? I believe Via Mahan is coming to Raw any day now.
Any day now.
So maybe they've gone and filmed all these vignettes and hoped that by the time that they were through airing them, they'd have something for her creatively, but they haven't, because I still think...
I love the approach. That seems to have happened well. Let's just film some shit and see where it goes. Well, I feel like that's exactly what happened with the Hacker as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, why film all that? Why bring her back for a match at the Chamber, have her lose, and then she goes away again?
Sadly, it just feels like very much like, well, we have an empty slot in the Chamber. Who's available? Which is frustrating, to say the least.
So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed for her, to be fair. Obviously, she's one of the highlights of any show that she's on, when she's obviously performing well and in a good role. So yeah, I'm surprised that they're not using it, and I'd be shocked, but not in a sense, if she's not used before WrestleMania. It seems like it's too late in the day to build her back and book something with her now. So it might be that she's going to end up missing WrestleMania, even though she's just sat there waiting, you know, for something to be done. Frustrating indeed, I would say.
Indeed.
So yeah, so that be the news this week, Anthony.
And that's the news.
Definitely a fair mix of topics there covered, but yeah, mad one. Absolutely mad one. So yeah, we will keep you updated with more news next week. But until then, do you live in the UK? Do you like wrestling? Are you local to the Northwest? In fact, even if you don't, do you fancy coming to see Europe's biggest wrestling convention in April? Of course you do. Well, here is some more information about that.
For Love of Wrestling, Europe's largest wrestling convention, returns to the Exhibition Centre in Liverpool on the 23rd and 24th of April. Guests this year include Diva of the Decade, Trish Stratus, the Wrestling God, JBL, the Dudley Boys, Torrie Wilson, and just announced MJF from AEW. We will also be doing a Wyatt family reunion as we welcome Eric Rowan, the man formerly known as Braun Strowman, and indeed the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Also just announced is the man, the legend, the icon, Sting, and of course your Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. This and many, many, many more guests, as well as prop builds, Q&As with all of the wrestlers, and some of the biggest wrestling collections in the world on display from our exhibitors. Get your tickets at forloveofwrestling.co.uk or search Facebook or Twitter for the Love of Wrestling. For the Love of Wrestling, Europe's biggest wrestling convention, returns to Liverpool the 23rd and the 24th of April.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa and you're watching or listening A2theK. A2theK. A2theK.